All right, what's up, you dirtbags? My name is Luke Eggebrotten. I'm going to give you a quick overview. We just finished up this episode that you guys are going to hear in a couple minutes here. We had the man Josh Newell on the show. A lot of you guys follow him on LinkedIn, but Josh is actually out of Northern Ireland. So he is the principal or the owner of GreenRock Renewables, but also he started an excavation arm to that, GreenRock Contracts. Josh has been listening to the Dirtbags podcast since the first episode, so it was really a cool episode to have him on as a guest. And something to remember too that we talk about in this episode is, Northern Ireland, it's the whole country is about 1.8 million people population. For comparison, the United States is about 340 million. So we talked about some of the pros and cons, but also, just some of the differences that he's seeing in starting an excavation company. But it's really cool to hear him dive into that, and couldn't have done it without my co-host, Mr. Matt Studi. A lot of you guys have heard Matt on the podcast before. He was actually he has a top 10 episode with the Dirtbags, has 1,917 downloads so far. Matt is the owner of Sapphire Construction Services, and he was also one of our Dirtbags University's speakers. So Matt's a good friend of mine, a client of Phaser, but also just a straight up awesome guy. So really fun to have Matt on as my co-host here as we interview Josh from Northern Ireland, and super excited for you guys to listen to this episode. Let me know what you think. And this is episode number 98. So we are gearing up for our big episode 100 extravaganza. Lots of fun things going on. I can't believe we're already at 100 episodes coming up here I think it's the end of August. So excited to see what you guys think. And let's dive into the episode with Josh Newell and, of course, our beautiful co-host, Mr. Matt Studi. Let's get it. All right, what's up, you dirtbags? My name is Luke Eggebrotten. I am your host of today's episode number 98. This episode just launched August 1st, and we are 2 away, if you can count, from the big episode 100. So very special guest we have on today. But before we get into who our guest is, we need to introduce our guest host, none other than the man number 10 on the all-time Dirtbags podcast episode list with 1,917 downloads on his episode. We've got Mr. Matt Studi from Sapphire Construction. Matt, how we doing, man?
What's going on, Luke? How are you,
Dude,
buddy?
good to see you. I love when did I text you about this? Yesterday?
Last night at, let's see here, Sunday evening, was over having a barbecue with some friends. It was right at 5:30 last night. So
Okay, that's not too bad, but
we got over 12 hours ago.
yeah, and so for those listening that weren't on the last Dirtbags University, we had Matt Studi, as you guys can hear. He was one of our panel speakers, and because Matt and I had always talked about having him on as a guest host and just having him more involved, and so having you on, Matt, as a panel speaker was awesome. I know the turnout was great, like what you delivered was awesome, but then as I was thinking, I had this incredible guest coming up. It was today, and I was like, okay, it would be really fun to have a guest host. Thought of you right away, and obviously credit to you. You stepped up, and you're like, let's do it.
We cranked through a bit earlier this morning. We got 3 job interviews stacked up at 3, 3:30, and 4 right after this podcast. So
You'll be fired
it'll
up and
be
ready to go. So
good.
I know
Yeah.
we got our, for those watching on YouTube, you see we got our matching hats. Love to see it. And as we dive in here, a pretty special episode. I'm super excited. A few weeks ago, I got a LinkedIn message. And for those listening that aren't on LinkedIn yet, definitely get signed up for LinkedIn, connect with myself and Matt. Got a message from one of our Dirtbag listeners who's been listening since the first episode and has just started his own excavation company. And as I was reading through it, one of the kickers is our guest coming out of Northern Ireland. I'm so excited to welcome in Josh Newell, it is nighttime for you right now. Welcome to the Dirtbags podcast. Happy to have you on, man.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. You got the Modelo. I've got the Athletic Brew, and Matt, you got is it the
The
Ghost?
ghost energy.
There we
Yep.
go. Got to get ready for the bids later. Josh, I am so excited to have you on the podcast and just to give a different perspective, right? And I know we try and do that a lot on the show of giving you guys listening different perspectives from people and different stages of their business and also different skill sets. And to throw another wrench in there, being in a totally different country. So, Josh, having you call in from Northern Ireland, give myself and maybe some of our listeners a little geography lesson. Northern Ireland and Ireland are not the same country, right?
Correct. Yep. Correct.
I
Yes.
didn't know
So,
that till 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, same.
yeah. So basically, Northern Ireland is a population of about 1.8 million people. It's a small six counties of Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. So we still deal in British pounds.
Hmm.
So all the same laws and regulations and everything are the same as the UK. 20 minutes down the road, it's a completely different country. There is different registration plates on cars. There's different currency, different regulations and laws, and yeah,
So
uh,
I will be the one to ask, which country is 20 minutes down the road? Which one is it?
Ireland.
Oh, I see. So
Yeah,
I gotcha. So Northern Ireland and Ireland have two totally different currencies.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. And when it comes to, and gosh, well, I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but when it comes to running an excavation company, can you work in both countries?
You can, yes, yeah. So there's just different. You'll have all your insurances, but you need to specify that you're working outside of the UK. So if I want to do a job 20 minutes down the road that's
Hmm.
across the border, I need to have good insurance for that. So yeah, it's not a problem, but it can be, and there's different rates down there
Hmm.
as well. Like it's probably the best pay because Google, Microsoft, Meta all have their headquarters in Dublin.
Hmm.
So the construction industry down in Ireland is booming
Hmm.
massively and has been over the past 15 years. So yeah, you can go down and make a lot of money down
Yeah.
there.
And Matt, I guess from your perspective, when it comes to working in different states, obviously you're in Montana, would you need to get different insurance policies per state? And from your experience, are some probably more difficult than others, or?
Can't speak too much to the insurance because you're still going to have your general liability and everything for your work comp.
Hmm.
The biggest hurdle I'd say would just be Montana is kind of a state where if you're 18 and you have a pulse, you can start a business and start an LLC. There's not really any licensing to it outside of locally. You have to have a separate septic license in order to
Hmm.
install those, but otherwise, it's really just your experience that obviously if you're out there messing a bunch of stuff up, you're not going to be in business, but there's not any testing requirements in order to acquire a license. But in different states, like I know Arizona is a state that you have to take a series of tests to get your contractor's license. Idaho, we haven't really dabbled in any neighboring states, so I'm not really sure what the licensing process is there, but there's certainly some different hurdles. The biggest one would just be you work local, you know your local subs, you know your local vendors, you know who you can rely on, and you get out of state and it's a whole new world. So
Yeah.
works for a lot of companies that travel and do muni work, but that's not us.
Yeah, we especially see it out east, like with our clients that are working in Massachusetts or even New York or Connecticut, Rhode Island. Uh, yeah, it's like when you start to learn that you can go all the way across the state in an hour and a half, it's you gotta sometimes go other states as well. So I know, and that'd be a good question too that we could have Charlie Huff, our insurance guy, on and just kind of talking about that of going to different states. But, Josh, in your case, this is a different country, different currency, but at the same time, too, the construction industry is booming. So I want to back up a little bit because, as I mentioned in the intro, so you're the director of GreenRock. So this is a company, GreenRock Renewables was a company that had been in business, and then the contracting side is new. So you guys just bought an excavator. Walk me through a little bit of GreenRock and how you got to this point and kind of where you're at today.
Um, so yeah, I suppose I'm a qualified electrician by trade, came out of school, went and got a trade, worked I actually worked in Dublin a bit. I worked all over industrial, commercial, electrical work. Um, then myself and my wife, we actually lived in Australia for 2 years.
I saw that.
We just farmed. It opened up a whole new chapter for us. We farmed the whole 2 years simply because it's like you guys would say small town syndrome. Our whole country is a small town, and
Hmm.
it's just sort of we're just fed up with our lives here and wanted something a wee bit different. So we headed out to Australia, farmed for 2 solid years, and then came home. I actually worked for Volvo Construction Equipment, so that's what got me interested. Massively, I was brought in as an electrical engineer to oversee all battery equipment. But for battery equipment here in Northern Ireland and Ireland and even the UK, it never really took off.
Hmm.
Simply because the price of lithium ion batteries was quite expensive back then, and Volvo had changed their mini excavators to be manufactured in, I think, France. So they used to be South Korea, which were brilliant, brilliant machine, and then they changed, and we kept getting a lot of excavators back, simply because the quality just wasn't there. 8.5 ton and under. You guys don't measure, like we have I would say our excavator's 14 ton, but would you say use work in pounds then, or what do you?
It's a combination of both. When you look up operating weights and everything, a lot of times it'll spit out tons just based on where it's manufactured, but my mind
Yeah,
works in pounds.
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what got me quite interested in the industry. And yeah, I guess I got into the renewable side then more so whenever I met a guy, and we started doing a few jobs together, and we were in business for, well, I like to think we were in business for about 6 months till a year, but it never part of the partnership didn't really work out, which is fair enough, but probably one of the biggest blessings that
Hmm.
I've ever had. It was very hard. I wanted to get my name down on the company, but whenever it came to that, things didn't work out. He put a big value on it. So yeah, it sort of got me hungry then. And I think 2 or 3 weeks before I got married, we I set up a limited company, which is an LLC.
Hmm.
I think it's the exact same thing. So yeah, I was working full time at the time, and then I just quit one day and got enough pay saved up to go out my own then. And
So you're working full time at your job. You have the LLC on the side. Uh, when from this day did you quit your job and go full time in the LLC?
probably last August.
Yeah.
So we got married. Once we got married, we I decided then yeah, we have a house, we have a mortgage to pay. So
Hmm.
I said to myself, if I can earn 1,500 quid a month, then I can pay all my bills. So
Hmm.
I think once I went full time, it got me even more hungrier. And I went out and got more work. And yeah, we've been doing pretty good from then. So yeah,
That's awesome. I love that. Little squeak
So
there.
is quid sterling, pound sterling then?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting. We got a pretty even exchange rate.
yeah,
One pound sterling is $1.35 USD.
Yeah.
yeah. It used to
Good to
be,
know.
it was 150 at one stage. So it was, but yeah, it's up and down. Like I actually, my friend got me into it. I wasn't really a big investor. He loves investing on the side. Um, and yeah, we've ended up investing, and that's how I know a wee bit about the dollar as well, because we're investing in American companies.
Mm,
So yeah.
love that. And then I know, so Josh, you said you went full time in the business probably last August, and then there's this new arm of the business that you've just opened up, I believe in May of this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, so 2nd of May we got the limited LLC. Yeah, so how that happened, my brother works, he's a foreman at a quarry in the other town over from us. Uh, he ended up working, one of the guys that was contracted in had took really good care of his machines all the time. And my brother always said he would buy the 14-ton excavator. It's a Doosan 14-ton, and it came up for sale probably at the wrong time, but he bought it anyway because he didn't want to let it slip. Uh,
Hmm.
it sat on the farm with no work, and I said, "Well, let's get to it. Let's do something about this." So we we founded GreenRock Contracts, and myself and my brother are 50-50 partners, which is crazy because we never got on living at home, and
Hmm.
we would have fought like brothers. And yeah, it was crazy the way it all just happened. And I sort of took it on me to find the company and to start pushing for more work. So the main source of work at the minute is probably going to be assisting our renewable side of the business.
Hmm.
So for like solar PV ground mount systems, fencing for them, farms, geothermal heating. It's on the rise again. It's very expensive, but people are wanting it. So that's hopefully going to be the main source of income over the next wee while.
So essentially, your parent company can subcontract you then.
Yeah,
It's not a bad way to start.
yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, to date, so I sent my first invoice from GreenRock Renewables out in August, and I would say, so my year end is going to be August, and I would say
Hmm.
there could be the guts of 500,000 quid go through the renewable side, which has then is going to help the contract side massively with that funding.
And then when it comes to, so your year end will be August, and then you have the separate company. So with GreenRock Renewables, is that just you owning that? And then GreenRock Contracts is 50-50 with your brother?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Gotcha. And then when you're paying taxes, I guess, and I'm not sure how it would work out in your end, but does it all roll up into the main company, or are these just two totally separate entities?
Two two separate companies, yeah, because I wouldn't want to give 50%
Right.
of renewables to my brother, yeah. So yeah, two separate companies. I get paid from the renewable side.
Hmm.
I have a full-time employee, and we have about 8 roofers, subcontractors, and another 6 electricians. So just subcontracting, but one employee. I sort of leveraged the business on early doors. I wasn't, I suppose I took a bit of advice just from all the podcasts I've been listening to, especially from yours. And a lot of the guys were saying boots on the ground all the time. But if you're working a full-time job here, it's very, very hard to get work done because Saturday, we're so far behind. Saturdays, people don't want you showing up on Saturdays to do work because they're off work.
Mm.
And especially not on Sundays. Not many like shops don't open around here on Sundays. You can't really go shopping. Some any shop that does open is open at 12 p.m. Or sorry, a.m. And it's sort of like I had to leverage the business from day one to get the work done.
Yeah. So kind of what you're saying is, ideally, when you hear people on our podcast, they say, yeah, I work full time Monday to Friday, and then I do my side jobs with my business Saturday and Sunday, just all day, every day. But it sounds like where you're at, people don't want you out there on Saturday or Sunday.
No, definitely not. I mean, you could probably go to part-time work in a full-time job, but I suppose the problem is there is you're sort of half in the company and half not.
Hmm.
And the company that you're working for would lose that bit of respect, maybe. So that's why I quit and I said to myself, right, I have a few jobs booked in, small jobs, went and done them myself, and it's took off ever since then. It's like we don't do any marketing at all. It's all it's all word of mouth around here, especially on the renewable side. We're more so about the niche sort of work rather than like there's a load of solar panel companies that want to put solar on your roof and get out of there, whereas we're more about, if someone wants a ground mount, we can do the civil work, the groundwork, we can do the electrical work, and it's more so providing a turnkey solution. Geothermal, the customer doesn't have to go out and get their own operator to dig their 300 meters of trenching, or that's all done in-house, and that's the idea behind the two companies working together.
All right, you dirtbags. I want to take a quick second to thank our huge episode sponsor, the man, Charlie Huff. As you guys have heard me talk about him before, but Charlie Huff is the legend when it comes to construction insurance. I know it's not the sexiest topic, but stick with me because you know this is important. If you run an excavation, grading, or any kind of dirt moving business, you know the right insurance can make or break you. And that's where our guy Charlie comes in. He's not just some random insurance guy, he's one of us. He grew up in a shop, worked in the trades, and now he's dedicated his career to protecting dirt world companies like yours. His team is full service, fast, and relentless when it comes to getting you the best coverage at the best price. They flip over every rock, negotiate hard with carriers, different carriers, and make sure you're not just covered, but covered right. And the best part, he makes it super easy. If you need a COI, he's got you covered. Adding or removing equipment, done. Got an audit coming up, handled. They've taken the insurance headaches off of your plate so you can get back to running your business. Charlie has an updated phone number. So Charlie's phone number is now 435-764-4833. You can shoot him a text or give him a call. When you do, just make sure you let him know that the Dirtbags podcast sent you and that you heard him on the show, and he will take great care of you. Once again, that's Charlie Huff, Construction Insurance, 435-764-4833. Give him a shout today. See if he can beat your current rate, and I think you guys will be surprised at how incredible he is. So thank you, Charlie, for sponsoring this episode. Let's get back to it.
A
Matt,
good move there.
did you ever have any situations like that where you subbed yourself out to? Oh, I know with Becky, right? She does
She has
some
real estate.
real estate, and then are you doing a lot of the site prep there sometimes for certain jobs, or?
Well, we did. I've done a couple specs in the past that IG seed
Mm,
did the dirt work. It's kind of a tricky situation on that because it's if you pay your I ran all that through the same company.
hmm.
So if you run that all through the same, you kind of do stuff at cost for the dirt side just because you're gonna end up paying tax on that at the end of the day too. But yeah, we've done that a couple times where we've done the house and then she's ended up listing it. We've done it with a couple properties, like our main house that we built. She was, I mean, I wouldn't go any other direction but her for an agent.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
for more reasons than she's my wife. She's really good at it, but it works out good for what we're doing. We ultimately want to get into some more subdivision work and everything. So she can find the land, she can be the agent for it. We can go do it, divide it, and she can sell the lot. So we'll be working together in those type of items.
Yeah. And I'm curious too, and maybe Matt, from your perspective, this would be interesting because Josh, when I hear you talk about it, like it just makes sense, right? You're already contracting out another contractor and you kind of want to get into this side of business anyway. But I suppose you need to crunch the numbers too and make sure that you're not just chasing the next business and making sure that your business is also successful. But how do you go about making a decision like that to see, do we want to expand into another business or hunker down and stay with what we're currently doing?
Yeah, so I was very skeptical to it because you can lose focus, but this whole time I was always from the even Australia. I wish we went to work on the mines. We didn't. We farmed and we drove a lot of machines out there, mainly tractors, and got a wee bit of experience in a excavator and stuff. But it was more it definitely is about focusing on that and bringing it all together. And I'm just trying to think. It was more so my brother. He, we all thought he was a lifer at the quarry he was in. He still may be, but at the same time, I think he saw a wee bit of light, thinking he saw me. We were doing pretty well on the renewable side. And I said, well, if you want to maybe create a better life for yourself, why not? Like, I've always been interested in machines from a young age. He was always, and he actually went to work at it, whereas I went down a different path.
Hmm.
I heard about how much electricians make, so I went down that path. But at the same time, they also get a lot of stick for being an electrician. So it, I think they definitely go hand in hand with the likes of utilities as well and stuff like that. But it was our first solar ground mount where I decided to go and get a mini. I rented a wee 1.5 ton excavator. Believe it or not, we actually need to do a trailer license here. So we get our car license and then you can tow a very small trailer with a dirt bike on the back of it weighing no more than 750 kilograms. So I don't know what that compares to, but after that, you need to go and sit another test to get your trailer test. So me and my brother just recently went and done that. We were probably shouldn't say it, but we were pulling trailers without the license, just to get the jobs done because I wasn't going to pay someone whenever we were going to the job to deliver something that we were already going to do. So we went, rented out a mini excavator, done the ducting work for the electrical cable, and piled. We use a ground screw for your solar panels to sit on. And then I thought to myself, this saved me, £1,000 for paying someone to come and do this. And I just thought to myself, well, yeah, I mean, let's try and I'd love to go after this. And then I get a phone call from my brother to say he went and bought a 14-ton excavator, and I said, well, let's do something about this and get to work on it.
I'm glad you said that. That was going to be my next question for you was was there any part of your main business where you're looking at it and not necessarily that you saw you were getting price gouged or anything, but was there any situations where you put in the guys that were doing the excavation works number into your main bids and you were losing bids and it could have possibly been because of their prices? Was there anything like that?
Yeah, but it works in both ways. We do a lot of work for I would call it a sales company. They're a renewable company. They do specialist heating systems like geothermal, one of a few people in the country, if not the only company in the country that does it. And I saw the other end of that because pricing, I got quite good at pricing on an electrical end. I was just a standard electrician, throwing cables in, putting containment up. I never was exposed to pricing, and I sort of taught myself a lot of that. Whereas a lot of guys go through the ranks of companies and work as a laborer, work as a foreman, then whatever the next step is, superintendent, is that the boss? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, if we don't have that. We just have the boss then, rather the foreman and the boss, and which is normally the owner of the company that doesn't get out of the truck. But other
The
than that,
AC.
yeah, um, yeah, other than that, like we my brother told me the prices that what we need to price on an hourly rate for the excavator, and it costs about £35,000. And he, in his quarry, they charge their 14 ton and an operator out at £40 an hour. But I can't get my head around it because I can go and show up with my tools and earn £35 per hour without a £35,000 machine. So for me, coming from an electrician's point to into then the excavation world, I just thought to myself, it's going to take a long time to pay off this machine. Whereas in the electrical end, you only need hand tools and maybe a tester and a few other bits and pieces, and you can earn £35 per hour. Whereas on a 14-ton excavator, they're getting 40 quid per hour. So that I've really struggled with that, but I suppose it's the industry we're in, and it's the how do you say this? It's just we don't have that much happening around us. Like Taylor White had said on one of your podcasts before, there's 40 million people in Canada and there's a lot less work happening. There's a lot less stuff happening, but is there like 300 million people in America? And
340.
yeah, so there's a lot more business to be had, whereas here there's 1.8 million, so it's definitely cheaper to live. It's cheaper, like work is cheaper, and but there is a lot less happening. So that's why sometimes we would go over to England, Scotland,
Mhm.
Wales. We haven't been yet, but we can.
How would you, yeah, I have a couple thoughts on that. Like, would it be worthwhile to go to England and Scotland with the logistics cost of getting your equipment over there? Because the equipment probably still costs the exact same, whether or not the cost of living is cheaper, the equipment I would assume costs the same.
Yeah, so it is you have to get a boat. Like we can from Northern Ireland, we can get a boat over to Scotland, 2 hours on a boat. Um, but as you say, it may cost 500 quid, but you're not gonna bring a bit of equipment out there until you maybe have 6 months, 3 months worth of work.
For sure.
You have to do it, but also it probably you could probably rent equipment out there, but again, your equipment's sitting at home. That's the fine line between buying and renting. I wanted to start the company and rent and have that good cash flow, but my brother already done the deal before I even got a say. So it, yeah, shit
I think
happens.
I'd get along with your brother really well. If you don't take a
Yeah,
chance, you don't stand a chance. Just
well,
buy
that's
it.
it. Yeah, I
Is
mean,
that 40? Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead
I was going to ask you, so that 40 an hour for the machine, is that machine only or is that with an operator?
with an operator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what's that like 30 or I don't even know what would that be?
The conversion's the same, isn't it, Matt?
It's 1.35. So if you're
Oh,
35 an hour for an electrician, that's basically it's 47 for the electrician. So 40 an hour, damn, yeah, 54 bucks an hour for that machine with an operator. I mean, I could pull up a spreadsheet to look, but it's cost you 35 bucks, 40 bucks an hour to just own it and use it.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. So,
I see
but
what you're thinking.
that's his company would charge that. But again, they're a 22 million pound business.
mm,
They dig up, they can have the license to go and start digging up any road. The government has a budget every year and they are the go-to guys to fix the roads. Although they're terrible at the minute. It's been bad weather. It doesn't stop raining here as well. But this year has been brilliant. We've had very good sunshine throughout winter and right into spring. And whenever it's too dry, then the farmers start complaining that it's too dry because we have no irrigation here at all. We just have God's rain. That's it.
the I was just looking this up here, Josh. So I live in Arizona, which is the desert, one of the deserts of the United
Yeah.
States, and yeah, I think we have like I think it's over 320 days of sunshine, basically no rain, and it's very, very few and far between when it rains here. So it's almost the opposite, but it's also hot as balls here. So,
We have
Yeah.
70 clear days a year here, Luke. That's why I come
oh my
see you in the
gosh.
winter.
Yeah, that's why you come down here to golf in the winter and man, 70 only?
That's it.
Wow,
When
that's
I
like
say we
some
get 9 months of what it feels like winter, I'm not joking about that. This weekend
um
was great. It was 80, but it just got done raining like 20 minutes ago.
yeah, and Josh, I suppose so Josh, and you brought this up earlier too. So obviously you live in Northern Ireland, but you lived in Australia for what, 2 years? Was that on the east side? And then what were your thoughts in Australia? Like how did you like that?
So yeah, as I say, we were fed up here. We went to Australia called backpackers. And so we went, but COVID actually hit. We were dairy farmers. We worked on a farm outside about 3 to 4 hours outside of Melbourne for
Hmm.
almost a year. Um, and it was myself and my wife, Fabi. We both you're talking 4 a.m. starts and you weren't finished to maybe whenever it was very busy, it could have been 10 o'clock that evening. So yeah, loved it, loved every minute of it. Very hard work. And then after the 10 months of the dairy farming, and it was definitely a good relationship tester.
Yeah,
Because
I bet.
whenever you're working cattle and they have a mind of their own, oh crazy. But yeah, we packed up from there. COVID had lifted slightly. We weren't affected at all because we were in the middle of nowhere. We worked, could have been working 110 hours a week, and the farmer's wife would have went in, or my wife would have went in to get groceries maybe once every 2 weeks, and that was it. You were on that farm,
Wow.
and we were working. So yeah, great experience. Then I bought a L200, a Mitsubishi L200 pickup, and I put a rooftop tent on it. and we ended up traveling and living out of that. We worked on different big cattle ranches, sheep ranches, just traveled up the middle of Australia. We never went west. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, there was very, very little to see. We went through Alice Springs into the Northern Territory and then shot across to Queensland and
Hmm.
spent a lot of time there. So yeah, that was really the second year then. We had done that and we worked on different farms throughout our time just to help pay for the trip. And then yeah, I suppose we got a bit homesick. Australia had big floods back just before we left. And after the floods, the mice had came and the mice had almost took over. They had ate every wire in the tractors, every machine. You could have got up in the morning and tried starting your car or a machine and it didn't turn on, and insurance could have just wrote it off. So mice were a big problem for especially out in the country. So yeah, we just got. I think the moment I knew we were going home was we were living in horse stables at the time. It was qu quite close. You would say the outback, and it gets very cold at night, but gets very warm during the day, like 50
Hmm.
degrees Celsius,
Wow.
which is yeah, it was very hot. But at night it could have froze at night because it was in the middle of the desert, and I think I knew we were heading home whenever I felt a mouse run up my leg whenever I was sleeping one night. I just freaked out. And yeah, we were actually planning to go and do a ski season in New Zealand, but we just decided to call it quits and come home. And yeah, that was Australia. Good fun.
Any spiders?
Yeah, spiders weren't really a problem. It was more the snakes, brown snakes. Yeah, like we have nothing here, like nothing. Like you wouldn't. A bumblebee would be the biggest thing here in Northern Ireland. We have nothing. Because as you know, St. Patrick, I suppose, yous would even celebrate that as well. But he chased all the snakes out of Ireland back in 1600 or so. I don't know when. But yeah, we have absolutely nothing here. And to go from one extreme to the other was crazy. Like we actually had a dingo, which is a wild dog that lived on a farm. We farmed for about 3 months outside in New South Wales, a few hours outside Hunter Valley, and cattle died or anything. It was just threw into a ditch, and the dingo he would have just came and ate it and kept him fed, and yeah, it was different, completely different. But I'm sure you guys out in Montana and even Arizona would have a few different species of animals.
We got some, the big ones everybody talks about in Montana is always the bears. You don't see them very often though. At least I don't.
Yeah.
But I'll take bears and mountain lions over spiders any day.
Yeah, I feel like it's nothing like Australia and yeah, in Arizona we definitely have, rattlesnakes and scorpions, but it's honestly like I thought I was going to be terrified of scorpions. They're just insects and you just kill them and you can step on them and it's not a big deal, but when you look at like a tarantula or a big spider and you can like almost feel the bones breaking and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the spiders definitely were never a problem for us. Like we would have had a few big ones in the house we were living in, but it wasn't a problem at all. It was you either look, most of the big things are protected and you weren't allowed to kill them, but I wasn't taking a chance.
It's either you kill them or it kills you.
Exactly. We had a cobra snake that lived underneath our house. All our construction in Northern Ireland, a lot of houses are all block. So Whereas in Australia, they're more mobile homes and they're built
Hmm.
up off the ground. And we had a cobra snake that lived underneath us. And I woke up one morning to go and get the cows in for milking, near stepped on it. But yeah, I was going to kill it, but the farmer had said, please don't, because that takes care of all the mice and everything else that you don't want. So I let that one live. But yeah.
The circle of life.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta love it, man. I mean, the mice though, it would be nice to have a little protector like a cobra snake taking care of the
Yeah.
mice coming in.
But at the same time, that you would need a few snakes because you could have. We walked in the morning into the machinery shed, and the floor looked like it was moving because there was billions of mice, billions, and you went to step on one, and because they're so flexible, they just run away. Or you go to stand on one, you think you've killed it, but no, they can fit in tight spaces.
All right, you dirtbags. I did not mean to interrupt this wonderful episode with Josh, but I'm going to. So, as you guys know, you've heard me talk about him before. If you guys need an insurance agent that knows construction, you know to go to Charlie Huff. Charlie Huff is our guy. You can reach out to him at his cell, which is 385-268-9939, or you can reach him at his website, sigutah.co. Charlie's been a great friend and a big supporter of the Dirtbags podcast. And I know a lot of you guys listening use Charlie. If you need to get a quote, if you want to look at some specialty insurance for your company, you just don't know if what you currently have is getting it done, just reach out to him, let him know you found him on the podcast, and he'll take great care of you. So once again, that's Charlie Huff with, he does all the construction insurance, and you can reach out to him at 385-268-9939. Now let's get back to the episode with Josh and, of course, our guy Matt Studi. Man, when
Change the subject.
yeah, when I heard you say, yeah, we went to Australia for a little trip with me and my wife for 2 years, that is not what I expected. But yeah, especially when you get further off the coast and it is the outback. I mean, it is the
Yeah,
desert. And I think people forget how big Australia is and how almost barren it is in the middle.
definitely. Yeah, like you would kangaroo is vermin, so yeah, they would kill There's more kangaroo than there is people. I think there's 29 million people in Australia, but there's a lot more kangaroo and wallabies. And yeah, I mean, I learned how to butcher a sheep as well, because it fed you for the week rather
Mhm.
than running and getting groceries. You could pick a sheep out of 100,000 and he's just unlucky, or she. So it definitely taught us a lot. Like, think of a photo of my wife driving a big cat loader as well. It's just experience like that we would never have got here.
Man, and I'm glad you brought your wife up there again too, because as the time of this recording, you have a new baby that has not been born yet, and by the time this episode launches, if all things go well, you should have a new baby on the way. So, how do you feel about that? Do you feel ready for it? And yeah, talk a little bit more about that.
Um, I don't I don't think anyone is really ready for it. Like we're
Hmm.
both quite nervous about it. Obviously I want to be here, and I want to be the best father I can be. But again, I think it's just one of those things that you wing it. I wung it in my first week of business. I'm winging it on the GreenRock contracts side.
Hmm.
I'm gonna wing being a father and just sort of go with the flow and see see what happens. With a good support network around us here. If we were still living in Australia, we wouldn't have that. We would just be out on our own. So both of my parents are still around, both of Abby's parents are still around, and we'll yeah, well, hopefully we'll lean on those ones closest to us and just wing it.
That's what we're all doing every day, right? It's just
Yeah.
winging it and do the best you can and put your best foot forward. But I mean, that's life, and that's what we're all doing, and just like learning from each other too. And like you said, Josh, I think having a support system is huge, and that. But even if you were in Australia, you would have figured it out as well. And but now you're back home, and there's just maybe that extra level of help and support that you'll get. From your family and friends. And then also on the business side too, it's like you're going to need support there. And I know you mentioned too of, listening to the Dirtbags episodes, which was really cool for me to see, that message you sent me of, listening all the way in Northern Ireland. But how have some of the guests we've had on or some of the episodes like influenced you on starting the excavation side?
So I mean, Luke Payne was probably a big influence. I actually just re-listened to the podcast where he spoke about being, he was a sales, he was in marine sales, and he taught me to, back then I was still working in Volvo, so I really wanted to then, I'd asked about going into a sales role, and even the Volvo had no one selling their mini excavators in Ireland. So they had a job opening. I had no sales experience, but Luke Payne had spoke about being a sales guy. Everyone's a sales guy, no matter if you're like, we're the business owners. We try to sell our business and our products and our services, and that that was sort of a step for me. I got turned down, so I never got into a sales role. But again, that was probably a blessing in disguise because I was gonna try and sell a shit product to good people, and that's like, round here we get a lot of car sales guys. Car sales guys don't know anything about the car. Most guys don't know anything about the car that they're selling, but it's the guys that do know everything about the car that they're selling will get the sale over some guy that hasn't a clue what engine is in it or anything like that. So that was definitely a big influence in me to sort of act as a sales guy, but don't bullshit. People see past all the bullshit. So more so than the excavation side was. I started listening to this podcast simply from a business point of view, more so than just excavation and dirt world. But it definitely, I saw how easy it could be to incorporate that into what I was doing. So it may surpass it someday. The renewable side, solar may, and battery, I don't think it's going anywhere for a while, but that may, it may fall, the ass fall out of it in the future, and you do need a bit of breadwinning work. And I definitely think everyone needs dirt moved all the time, no matter if you're building new houses, if you're land clearing, if you're utility work, bringing people electricity. We could do that whole turnkey system. So that was a big influence on me.
Hell yeah. Dude, that's awesome to hear. And yeah, it's so cool to hear everyone's perspectives too. And that's really all it is hearing everyone's story, hearing everyone's experience, letting people have the floor and just talk through it. And yeah, it's been so cool to have you on here and hear your side as well and hear how you got your business started and also how it's just going to keep evolving through the years as well. And just, keep putting your foot your best foot forward each and every time, no matter if it's in your business, if it's in your family life, whatever you're doing. It's just continuing to keep it rolling.
Definitely. It's really good to get all the different perspectives. That's what I've enjoyed about this podcast too, is not two people's journey through it all has been the same. If you can take tidbits from everybody where you can relate, then that's the best way to go about it.
Mm.
And then Josh, I'm curious too. So obviously you have a lot going on right now. I noticed on your page you guys were just in Dubai ripping some dirt bikes and quads and stuff. If you want to touch on that here, but then I would also want to hear like what do you do outside of, work and then your business?
Yeah, so yeah, we went to Dubai on our honeymoon. Amazing place, real clean, plenty. The construction industry again is very much booming out there. They're trying to get people to move out there as well. If you definitely it's a trip I would recommend because it only takes for you to bump into someone in the hotel lobby to maybe get an opportunity. I You mentioned in a few podcasts about a business mentor. Whereas whenever I had reached out to you, I had said I don't think I need one simply because of the podcast to listen to. And I think, but then at the same time, I have an uncle that took a business he was a welder and multi-million pound business. So talked to him now and again, but it's more just a bit of a favor. Um, it's hard because it's family as well. Um, a lot of people don't get involved with family, and it's not that he doesn't want he more so gives me his past experiences, but that's what this podcast is all about, is listening to other people's stories and going down that route. And I'm sort of going off topic here, but whenever I was out in Dubai, he done a job out in Dubai, and he was the one to tell me to go and just get a coffee, sit in the lobby, and you never know what could happen because I think that's what happened to them. His business partner was out on a holiday and just overheard a conversation, and he said, "We build steel door security doors," and then there could have been a couple of million quids worth of business to be done there. So but again, we were out on Dubai on a honeymoon, not not a business trip. So it was hard to I wouldn't say I switched off, but I was always listening in the conversations and stuff and sort of done that. But yeah, it was definitely a brilliant experience. My wife is pregnant, and so I just took myself off one day, drove 2 hours into the desert. Um, I was gonna do a sort of wee standard tour of like I think you got a 100cc quad bike, automatic. Because I raced a dirt bike before, paid a wee bit extra and went for the KTM 450 and
Mhm.
the 700 Raptor. But the guys had sort of laughed and says, look, you mightn't be able to ride it on the sand, but I don't have a motorbike license or anything, but you don't need it on the desert. So he got me to do a few loops of the flat surface and yeah, sort of drifted it, popped a wheelie and screwed off a wee bit. And he was like, okay, yeah, you can go.
He's fine. He'll be all right.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it was definitely a trip of a lifetime, and I think we will definitely go back even with the baby in the future.
Yeah. And then, gosh, yeah, you bring up a good point there. And maybe, Matt, this is a good question for you. When it comes to like going on a honeymoon or something like that, where you're trying to turn off the business mind, like were you able to disconnect intentionally, or did you not try and push yourself that far? Or what are your thoughts on like a honeymoon is a great example, I feel like.
Yeah, because we just did ours. We went to Thailand and the Philippines, and I'd say pretty well I was able to disconnect. I think a lot of that has it's taken a really long time. The good thing about that trip was we were pretty well shut down at home, so there wasn't anything going on. We went over Christmas and New Year's, so things get pretty quiet around here as it is. But I don't know, I guess in the tune of like trying to network and stuff on trips. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm always listening in, but there's certainly part of me that I just want to be incognito sometimes. Like I live and breathe it every day, and my wife gets to hear and live and breathe it frequently as well. So especially when we're on trips, like I might not even wear any sapphire gear. I just want to be a guy out there sometimes. And I think that's important to do. I mean, you don't want to pass by an opportunity if you hear a conversation and it sounds like it could be something good, but I think keeping your focus on your relationship and what you're there to do is important too.
Yeah. And I think that's a great point too, with like when it's a honeymoon, that you can pay a little extra attention to disconnecting. If it's just a
Yeah.
trip, you guys are hanging out and doing whatever, I think having your head above water and kind of always keeping your ears open is nice because you never know. These conversations and these relationships always seem to spur into something that you didn't ever expect. And I think a lot of times that's some of the best ones are when you didn't expect it. But yeah, I think that's, Matt, when we were talking about this when you came down to Arizona this winter of just coming down and golfing or hanging out for a week and being able to do that has taken a long time for you guys, and it's still like very difficult to do. But part of it is, building up your team and your systems in your business to be able to take off for a week and still be okay. And like you said too, it is a little different because the winter for you guys is probably different for a lot of people listening. But curious if you want to touch on any of that of, where you prioritize some of those disconnecting trips or moments like that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's taken me, and this is year 7, and I'd say over this winter is the first time that I've kind of reconciled with it. And I think largely I kind of refuse to be in a position where I'm living that stressed out anymore because the last few years from basically March through November, it's balls to the walls, chaos. A lot of shit happens throughout the day as a business owner, and especially when you're still trying to recruit and get those right people into place. It's a battle, and you can't really step away. And part of that is just letting go a little bit and giving the people that you have in place the ability to give them the ability to perform and be there to answer questions. But there's going to be failures, things are going to get messed up, and being okay with that. And over time, that diminishes. But it's just putting trust in it, and I think I've become a little bit, or I was still am a little bit too much of a people pleaser, where you lose
Sure.
sleep over the one GC that might be a little bit upset. And the reality is, not everybody's going to be happy. There's always going to be an owner, a GC, a private client that is just impossible to please no matter what you do. And losing sleep over it and having effects on your relationship or your communication at home or hanging out with friends or whatever. It's just that stuff's the big picture. The business is
Yeah.
all important. It's our income, it's our passion, but our relationships with our girlfriends, wives, and our friends and family that's number one. And spending the time doing the hobbies you enjoy as well. So being able to like coming down to Arizona and be able to spend that week, we were working up here. I was still in communication with everybody. I was still working on bids from down there, but being able to just step away a little bit and be able to do those things and still, meet up with you and hit around to golf, go watch some drag races. I mean, it's huge. And that's kind of the goal I've been working towards is where,
Yeah.
things are running smoothly.
All right, you dirtbags, a quick interruption from one of our episode sponsors. You already know them, Eljen Corporation. We couldn't have this episode without Eljen supporting the dirtbags in this incredible podcast episode. So, huge thank you to Eljen. For over 4 decades, Eljen has been leading the charge in innovative, reliable, and engineer-friendly septic solutions. They focus on multi-stage filtration process, a smaller footprint, and lower maintenance. And it's become the trusted go to for contractors who want performance they can count on. We have great friends and listeners of the podcast like Pro Septic and Dig It Excavating and many more that use Elgin as their product. And so, any questions you guys have, feel free to reach out to me. At Official Dirtbags Podcast, at Phaser Marketing, or of course, you can reach out to any of our Dirtbags listeners. If you want to reach out to me and know who's using them, just shoot me a message and I can get you that info. But what really makes Elgin stand out is the heart that they have, not only for the industry, but for the veterans of this wonderful country. They've made it a priority to hire and support United States veterans as they help them transition from the military to meaningful careers in the trades. And as we say, it's not about systems, it's about service. Their entire tech team is made up of veterans of this wonderful country, and they continue to help educate and serve and help in getting veterans placed in other companies as well. So, not only do they have a great product and a great business for this industry, but they're also doing so many wonderful things for the veterans of this country. So, if you want to learn more, just give them a follow on Instagram at Elgin Corporation. Let them know you heard them on the podcast and you're there to support them. Or, of course, you can go to their website go to their website, elgin.com, and check them out there. So, thank you, Elgin. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate it so much. Now, let's get back to the episode with Mr. Matt Studi and Josh Newell. Here we go.
But it takes a long time, and it's all about finding those people that are just have the ambition and the grit, and they want to build and learn and get the benefits as well. So,
yeah, and I think, and maybe you in 7 years, and hopefully we'll have many more years after this for all of us in business. And one thing that I've learned is that there's probably going to be problems every single day. And it's just how you react to those problems and who and what perspective you have. Because if you go into the day as like a problem solver, that can really be a good mindset. But if it's always you and it's taking you away from the other things you're trying to do and the other problems you're trying to solve, that can be an issue as well. So it doesn't happen right away, like you mentioned, but just trying to move towards, a life that you want to live and a business that that doesn't crush you. And I think that's very difficult, but it's also why we're entrepreneurs, because we need the challenge and we want to be challenged every single day to see if we can make this thing succeed.
well, and you nailed it. There's always some sort of problem that needs a solution, whether that could be a big range of problems, but there is always something that will need addressed, and just understanding that and going into it calmly. And I think one thing that's helped me recently is reprioritizing my time throughout the day. Like I don't want to say I've got a morning routine like Ashton Jenny or whatever that guy is on TikTok, but just making sure you have that priority of time, get your workout, have your time in the morning with your wife, whatever it may be. And that's number one, because I've noticed doing that more rather than waking up and sprinting out of the door, immediately starting my day chaotic, has helped immensely. Get up an extra hour earlier just so I can just hang out, have my time to myself, and go about my day has been a huge one. So,
Yeah, the big one, and to that exact point, Matt, for me is not looking at my phone until after the first hour of me waking up. So getting up an hour earlier has helped. So I'm not just getting up late, getting a workout in, getting my quiet time, my reading my Bible, just having that time that I can control. Because once you unplug the phone from the charger and you dive in, which if it's early, it's not a big deal. Let's say 6 a.m. But if you've already been up for the hour, you were able to control that first hour. And then you kind of dive into the chaos, but then you're, at least in my opinion, a little bit more ready for it. Where if you roll out of bed before you brush your teeth and you look at your phone, for me, that was really tough to do, because I mean, it's, especially being on Pacific time, everyone else being on Eastern and Central, it just, you'd get hit right away from it. So I just started waking up a little earlier and then having a little more of that routine and then diving into it.
yeah, the phone is a big one. They're a very useful tool, but a very controlling tool as well. But I've gotten a lot better where I'd be the one, if I got a text or a call from a client that I felt that if I didn't respond within 2 minutes, that they were going to be pissed off and MFing me and whatever it might be. But the reality is, I mean, I call people all the time that I don't hear back from for 6 hours a day, 2 days a week sometimes. And I'm like, well, they'll get back to me when they can. So I just need to understand that's probably what's on the other side. And if I'm in the middle of something more important at that moment, then that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Josh, when it comes to, I know one of our favorite segments on the Dirtbags podcast is our book recommendations segment here. Curious from your point of view, have there been any books or any other podcasts that you listen to that have really helped you or that you enjoy. Anything for our listeners here in terms of book recommendations that you have.
Honestly, not a thing. Like as you guys were saying there, you like to wake up a wee bit earlier and, switch off for that first hour. I would always feel like I need to be doing more. I feel like I'm never doing enough. So I wake up and we walk the dog together. That's our time, maybe half an hour in the morning, get a coffee, and then boom, straight into it. That I think that's a problem with me is I'm always looking. It definitely was this time 6 months ago. There's other companies doing other stuff, and I used to always feel like I need to be doing that as well. But now I've sort of settled down a wee bit and said, well, this is my journey, this is my path. And I mean, I'll be completely honest with you, this podcast is probably enough for me just to get to motivate me to keep going. I don't I don't read at all. In my spare time, I play a lot of guitar. Used to play rugby at a pretty decent level, but work comes first. I didn't want to come in injured every single Monday. So I
Yeah.
used to race a motocross bike as well. And again, it's just prioritizing those things in life where I wanted to get the business up off the ground and spend all my time on that. I worked day and night. We normally get, I think you guys get about how many holidays would you guys get in employment?
Depends on who you ask, I guess. Matt, I
Like paid
mean,
holidays.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it depends who you ask. We tend to pay usually we'll pay Thanksgiving Day and the next day. We just paid Memorial Day. It varies, but I know a lot don't. So we try to do that to make sure guys are getting their 40s and still enjoying their 3-day weekend.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
We
variable.
we do a small handful. If I were to guess, it's like eight or so. There's a few that we don't do that are we still honor and respect. And if somebody needs the time off, we definitely respect that. But yeah, I honestly have no idea.
Well, we have to pay 28 holiday pay, 28 days minimum. Most companies have about 32 plus. 28 is what you have to pay by law. And then after that, it's more to get you to come and work for us is say 34 would be a standard. So you're getting the guts of a month and a few days off. So yeah,
The Irish dream,
that's
baby.
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it definitely, but then at the same time, you guys probably enjoy, well, in Arizona, you're getting good weather all year round, whereas here we need to get on a plane and go somewhere like
Mm.
Spain, Portugal. We need to go somewhere to actually get that heat and the sun. So yeah, there's a lot of public holidays. Like there was two holidays in May and they're just called May Day and end of May Day, I think, or something. So just the first Monday in May and then the last Monday or the last day in May. And I don't really know the reason why, but we have to pay them holiday pay for those days.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
lot.
But then like
I think the US is the only ones that don't do this.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also too, and not that we need to get into this conversation at the end of the podcast, but I also feel like I always like with our maternity leave and things like that. I know Canada, or for us, I think, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, you see kind of a range in there from small businesses to corporate. And I know Canada, sometimes it's 18 months or a year and a half. And I'm not sure where it is where you guys are, but I think just views on days off and things like that, whether it's right or wrong, I'm not sure at all, but I think it's just totally different. And from a business owner, like if you have to or get to pay 28 days off for holidays, it can make things complicated as well because the work still needs to get done and bills need to get paid.
Yeah. And you guys talk a lot about your sort of slow season. Like in winter time, if it is slow, you can pay guys off. But here we have to keep paying. If there's a direct employee, you either pay them off and they won't come back. Because normally once you pay someone off in an employment job, they go and look for something stable all year round. Whereas like that's where we would use subcontractors a lot. Like we have a team that installs solar panels on the roof, and them guys have their own company and they subcontract all of that. I don't want to do that in house because there's just too much liability with that. There's too
Yeah.
much to look after. Whereas them guys have their own equipment, scaffolding, and then they can get I don't know, would have telehandlers out there? Do you know what that is? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure. Yeah, like they would have their own telehandler and stuff as well, and they look after that side of the business for us. But as for laying guys off, it's definitely not as easy because if I laid a guy off this week and started recruiting in 3 weeks, they could take me to court because of it and try and sue me for it. So yeah.
All right, you dirtbags. This episode number 98 with Josh Newell, hope you're liking it, is brought to you by Sludgehammer. At Sludgehammer, they're not just treating wastewater, they're transforming it. They introduce cutting edge microbiology into conventional septic systems. Sludgehammer is making waves in the world of environmental engineering. Their secret? It's not high tech hardware, it's smart biology. The Sludge Hammer blend is a powerful proprietary mix of naturally occurring bacteria that supercharges your existing septic system, turning it into one of the most effective and eco friendly wastewater treatment systems on the planet. It's clean, it's efficient, and best of all, it is sustainable. No chemicals, no overhauls, just a smarter way to protect our water and preserve our planet. If you want to learn more, reach out to them either on their Instagram page at Sludgehammer Group Ltd. Let them know you heard them on the Dirtbags podcast, or you can visit their website, sludgehammer.net. They've got some incredible partnerships. We are so thankful for the partnership that they have with the Dirtbags and all that they're doing for our industry. We can't thank them enough. So thank you, Sludgehammer, for all your support. Let's get back to the episode with Josh and Mr. Matt Studi.
Yeah, we have what's called unemployment. So guys that are laid off for the slow season can draw from the state to get I don't know what the percentage is, but they get a percentage of their typical 40-hour work week. But most most people seem to I'm not gonna use the word like it, but are just used to it in this area because if you do landscaping, if you do excavation, if you do concrete, there's usually a period of time where you're just not working just because weather doesn't allow it.
Yeah, and it's, Matt, to your point too, it's different all around the country. And, in Montana, everyone just like things shut down for sure. And it gets really cold and it gets but in the industry too, it's pretty common to have that happen. So yeah, all in all, it's just kind of rolling with where you're at and making sure that, you take care of your team. And Josh, like you mentioned too, I think there is a smart piece of it of being able to sub out the things that make sense and stick to what you're good at until you can then take that next step and grow into that sector if needed. But man, Josh Newell on the podcast from Northern Ireland, and the Wi-Fi kept up great too. It's amazing how we could do this podcast. You're all the way across, all the way across the pond, as you'd say. And I just can't thank you enough for enjoying a couple beers with us, sitting down with our Dirtbags audience. And dude, thank you so much for sharing everything today.
Yeah, no,
Thanks, Josh.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I never thought I would have got the opportunity. if anyone from Northern Ireland is listening to this, they're probably cringing because they're used to hearing the American accent, rather than my accent. But I suppose you guys mentioned that you like playing golf. I take
Hmm.
it you know who Rory McIlroy is.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, he's 30 minutes up the road from me. So yeah,
dude,
he's
that's awesome. He
That's
just,
awesome.
yeah, I mean, so 30 minutes up the road in Northern Ireland, I'm assuming, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the capital, Belfast, just outside of Belfast.
Yeah.
So yeah, he sort of puts it on the map for us.
Love it. Yeah, Matt and I, we like to golf. I wouldn't say we're golfers,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we definitely like to golf. We played when he came out to Arizona, and yeah, we just kind of stopped keeping score after the third hole, but we had a good time.
yeah,
A couple houses, got a couple on
Um,
the highway.
Heck yeah, love it. Well, Josh, Matt, thank you again for being on episode 98 of this Dirtbags podcast, and excited to see you guys on the next one. And we'll just keep it rolling.
yeah.
See you,
Take
boys.
care, Josh. We'll see you, Luke.